Hi, welcome back to my channel. As you already know, my little shtick. If you don't know me, my name is Ella. I'm an 18-year-old crocheter who's been crocheting for the past 5.5 years. And today I'm giving y'all about 15 inspo ideas to make blankets for. And blankets are all around. There's no specific season, they're all around. Most people make them in the winter, but they're all around. You can make spring blankets, summer blankets. They're all around. So if y'all want some blanket ideas, or you want to make a blanket and you have the yarn free, but you don't know what to do with it, or like what type of blanket, let me help you. So without further ado, let's dive into some of these blanket ideas. There is a wide range of blankets, and if I don't say, or if none of these don't like pique your interest, I would say most definitely look on TikTok and Pinterest and just all over the internet. You will find something that you'll like, or something of that sort. The first topic we are going to talk about is multi-granny square blankets. You could do a normal one, which they're all the same size, or you could do one like this one, which is different sizes. I did try doing one of these, but then I kind of ended up giving on it because I didn't like the color scheme. But I do like the format of it. I like it. It's very structural. It's very nice. You know, it's more like you can, you know, kind of play around with how you want squares to be and everything. It's not like super specific, oh, you know, they all gotta be in a line. Like, you just kind of place squares where you want them. You don't want a certain pattern or whatever you seek, like, to make it look good. And then the color palette, you can do, you know, blues how they did in here. You could do a certain color. You could do multiple colors. You could do scrap. Just depends on how you want to play the blanket. But I do love the format of this type of blanket. Another type of blanket you can do is still in the granny square category, is obviously the infinite granny square. I love the infinite granny square. It is super nice, super simple, and very straightforward. You can watch a show and crochet rounds until you get to the size that you want it to be. You could do a scrap version. You can do a multicolored version like this one. You could do a certain color palette. All that. I've done one before. You can do change every other round or every single round. You know, just depends on how you want to do it. But I do like these. These are a really good stash buster. So if you have a lot of stash buster yarn, I would say do this blanket because it will get rid of so much and it works up so fast depending on what hook you're using and what type of yarn you're using as well. Another blanket, which this is also granny square. I know right off the bat it's all granny square, so if you're a granny square girl like me, I would say these are pretty good for you. But another blanket I would suggest is a granny square stripe type of blanket. Kind of like the scrap blanket that I made not too long ago, or that I was working on. That one is a stripe blanket, kinda mainly a stripe blanket, but then I did extra rounds on the side and everything. A granny stripe blanket is also really good because it's the granny stitch, just not in a circle, but it's back and forth. And it's still pretty simple. You can do same thing as last one, a certain color palette, scrap, does not matter how you play it out. But I really do like a granny square stripe blanket. It's nice, simple, and it's not your typical infinite granny square. One of my favorite blanket ideas that I tend to do a lot, and that I've made multiple of, is the infinite star blanket, which there are multiple star blankets. This is I forget what it is called, but it's by Betty McKnit. She has a full tutorial on YouTube, and there's a written pattern on her blog, I think it is. But I usually like to do the videos. That's how I've done all mine. They've turned out great. But I do love them. My most popular video has been on this blanket, and I still have the blanket, you know. It's on my TikTok if you want to go see it. It's pinned on my page. There are multiple ways you can do the star blanket. I know there's some solid ones out there, but this one by Betty McKnit is my most recommended one. It's super easy. Yes, you do have to use multiple hooks at a time, you know, when you go through it. It's just because it ends up curling throughout. But once you start to get the hang of it and like the pattern sets, like the pattern repeats, it'll be smooth sailing. But this is also a good stash buster as well. One that I don't really see a lot, or haven't, like I've seen but not a lot, and I feel like it should be touched on more, is any multi-stitch blanket. It does not matter what stitch you're doing, just any multi-stitch. Like you could do like this one where there's like granny stitches, like clusters of 2 double crochets, singles. You can do anything like that. And also you can make one in every different color, like how this one is, you know. Or you can do it all the same and just be very textured with the different stitches you're using. Or you can do a certain color palette every other row and you know, make it super pretty and all that. Like it'd be thick stripes, but then also like, you know, there's texture to it. But I really do like these because in one, it helps you learn new stitches, and two, you know, it makes you, you know, think of new stitches to use for different projects, so that you have more of a stitch inventory, or like knowledge, so you're able to use different stitches instead of using the basic stitches for most of your projects. And you can actually make really cool stuff with the new stitches that you learned due to this blanket. So this type of blanket was trending all around, I think, 2022, 2023, and it's really good, but I would say it is very complex. So the ones that I talked about before, those are pretty much very beginner friendly, but the last one and this one, I would say, is more on the intermediate side, and that is a 60s, 70s flower blanket, granny square blanket. These squares, when I tell you, are very complicated. You're going to be questioning your life choices after you started one of these granny squares. And knowing that you have to do multiple of them it's like, I've never done one of these, and I probably never will, because of this reason, because they're so complex and they're just kind of difficult to work with. I'm just like that. If y'all ever made one of these blankets, or even made a granny square of this flower, salute to y'all. Y'all are some real soldiers out there. But if you do like this kind of style, like a 70s, 60s style, I would recommend this blanket because this captures the vibe completely, and I feel like it'd be a really good addition to your room. So this is a very unique one that I found. It is this guinea gam type style. I know a lot of people have made cardigans, bucket hats, like scarves, bags of this pattern, but I have not seen a blanket, and I feel like there needs to be a blanket. Obviously for this you can use any stitch or any basic stitch, like doubles, half doubles, singles, or I think in this one they used a lemon stitch, which I think is really nice because in one you get good texture, and two, you get good color switches. Yes, this does take a good about 3 colors to do, but in the end it turns out really pretty, and I think it's really cute that the border is also really good too, because then, you know, it gives a nice single border, or however border you want to do, and it's nice, simple, and clean. Another fun one, if you're more into, this one's more higher advanced, so more like advanced, not really intermediate, is squares that have different patterns on them. You know, this one's ocean themed, so it's very complex, and there's multiple things. Like there's the orca, there's a clownfish, a starfish, like there's different sea animals, and then there's ones that have different textures and everything on them. I think this one's really cute, especially if it was a baby blanket. This one would be really cute. And like, I think this one's also really nice because it boosts your creativity. Like, you don't have to do this exact one, but it boosts your creativity. Like, oh, you can stitch stuff onto granny squares, or even squares like this one. These are not even granny squares. These are more like, some of them are, but some of them are even like single crochet squares that they've made to match the size of a granny square, or like the solid granny squares. But I really do like this idea because it boosts your creativity to, you know, do different themes, or just stick on different things onto different squares and everything, and make your own chaos blanket, or put different things on different squares and make it your whole vibe. Or like, you could do like forest animals, you could do like space, you could do all kinds of stuff with this type. So I think this blanket will be really nice, and also really fun to do. A very popular blanket choice is the chunky blanket. I'm getting straight into this one because I've always wanted to make one of these. I have dealt with chunky yarn, yes, and finger knitting, yes. Does it hurt your fingers? Heck yeah it does, so be prepared. But I do really like these because they're super thick, it's chunky, and it gives a knit vibe when it's hand knit. Like doing it with your fingers. Like, you don't do a crochet hook, baby. No. Or needles. It's all hand knit. And it's really pretty. Color switches are pretty easy to do. You have to cut it and you have to burn it together so they like stick together, and then you just go on. But I do really like these blankets, and I really want to make one because they are so pretty. I would love to make one of these one day, like especially for like my home or something, like a brown one or like a nice black or gray one. Like, they're so pretty. Like, I'd love to make one of these. Yes, it might take a good pretty time and a good bit of money. Do I care? Heck no. I'm making this blanket one day, and it's gonna be my pride and joy for sure. But I do like these if you like to deal with thick yarn instead of like the acrylic, and kind of want to do a blanket that doesn't take as long to do, like a normal traditional crochet blanket that you usually do. Next blanket idea is, I would say, very, very, very much advanced, and I would highly, you know, take precautions, because this is basically any Mandela blanket And when I mean by vanilla, I mean this bombastic, beautiful piece. Cause what do you mean someone made this with their hands? What do you mean? Like the amount, cause I'm doing one, if y'all remember my last video, or like my second to last video of the lotus blanket I'm doing, that is also a manila blanket. It's very complex, there are a lot of layers to it, but there's also a lot of different stitches you gotta do and different ways to do stitches. Like, I have learned multiple ways to use stitches. It's nice, but there's also been times like, what am I doing? And how do I do this? Like, it's where I had to go to the written pattern and learn the stitch, like how to do it and make sure I'm doing it right. But any manila blanket is very complex, you know, depending on, there are multiple levels, like some are very low, like the lotus blanket, it's not super complex. You know, there are some that are complex, yes, but not all the way through. Then there are others that are like, you're doing 3D, like uplifting, like front post double crochets or front post stitches all throughout the blanket, but it ends up looking super pretty at the end. But I would most definitely recommend this if you are up for the challenge, if you're up for it like me. It does take a lot of time, and a lot of patience, because they're gonna be like, I know the blanket where I'm at right now, there's about almost 300 stitches. So buckle up for the amount of BS you're gonna be going through. But I do like the different kinds of styles that they do for these, because some of them are flowers, some of them are, you know, actually most of them are flowers, but there are different ways to do these manila blankets, and I think they're a really cool decor piece. So the next blanket is any ripple or wavy blanket like this. It doesn't have to be like this type of stitching. It could also be granny squares. It could also be just be normal half doubles or singles or doubles. But these are kind of really fun because there's, you know, it's like different textured visually. So it's not your typical, like, yes, it's going to be rectangle, but the design is very much not your typical blanket. It's very cool. It's very much retro. I would recommend this if you like, you know, cool blankets, but like not basic blankets. So this one, and I've never done one of these. I would kind of like to try it, but I know these are not as complicated as they look. They do, but they don't. It's probably just a lot of increases and decreases, so you can get that wave effect throughout. But I feel like this blanket is kind of underrated, but not overrated for sure. I don't really see a lot of these blankets around, but I feel like most people, you know, I feel like more people should do it, because I feel like they don't really get seen a lot as a really cool blanket. So this blanket has gone very popular, and I feel like it's kind of to the point where it's almost being overrated, but it's not, because it's so pretty. It is honestly the iconic bouquet blanket all over TikTok. If you have been on crochet TikTok, or even just like in general, like they might pop up in your feed. These are very, like, the base of it is very simple. It's literally a circle, you go all the way around. Then when you get to the vines and the flowers, it is very much like the amount of flowers you gotta do is like over 100. Depending on, yeah, about 100 or so. And some people have done roses, they have done, I think some people have done, I think a lavender or something, but I know most people have done roses for them. That's just the basic one they've done for the blanket. And they end up looking so pretty, and they do so many different colors. And the base, you can do any color as well. You know, it does not matter. You know, you can do any base with it. But I feel like this one's really cute, especially for like Valentine's Day or something. It would be so cute. Like, if I could make this and give it to my girlfriend, I flipping would. Because, like, it's just so cute. And if you don't want to do the traditional flowers or anything like that, you can make a bouquet, full on make and build the bouquet and give it to somebody, or have it as your own. But I think this is also more of a decor piece, not really one to wear, unless it's depending on how big it is. But this one would be a super cute blanket if you made it. Another blanket idea I would say is a basic stripe blanket. It does not matter what stitch you use. You can do any basic stitch, any complex stitch. I'd say any basic stripe blanket would do the trick for ya, because these are really simple, these are really nice, and they're just nice blankets to have alone, you know, if you don't want to do anything complex for your first blanket. So this is a very beginner, but it could also be very advanced depending on what type of stitch you're using. But I would most definitely recommend this all around, because these are very simple, very fast working up. And if you don't want to do like this kind of design, you could just do a full scrap blanket and maybe do like the stripes is like white, so it has design to it, but it also has a lot of colors mixed in with it because of the scrap yarn. but I would love to do one of these. Like, I have done one before, obviously, but I'd like to touch on this again because then I haven't made it basic. Like, all my blankets are very complex, me personally, because I've been crocheting for about 6 years. But I'd like to do just a nice, simple, striped blanket and, you know, give it to somebody, or you give it as my own. Another blanket idea you can do that's simple but not really, so I'd say this is beginner, intermediate, is a corner-to-corner blanket. I almost did one of these, but then I frogged it because I wanted to do a striped blanket, which is what I have now that I sleep with every night. But I do love me a corner-to-corner blanket because these are very, they're not really that difficult. It's literally all double crochets, but the way you gotta do it is a certain way, so then you're able to make it that corner and it goes out, and then once you get to the point where it is big enough for you, you decrease. And so you can do multiple colors like this, you can do a certain color palette, but also another thing I have seen is people have done pixel ones. They do different designs, like I've seen stitch, I've seen different patterns like hearts, stars, anything like that. I've seen a lot of patterns with them, and they are very cool and very complex. So that's more on the advanced side, like intermediate advanced, depending on what design you're doing. But if you just want to do a simple corner to corner, you can obviously do that and just do basic colors, and that's more beginner, if not intermediate, depending on how you're doing the colors. But this is also a really good one for scrap yarn and stash busters, because like, look at the scrap blanket. Like, it's very pretty. Like, it's a very pretty, like, the different colors and the different amount of lengths you're doing in chunks. It gives very much design and texture to it, and I really like how these blankets do turn out. So for our very last blanket design, which we know her, we love her to death. She's a very easy all-around blanket. It is the one, the only moss blanket. I know at least every crocheter in their mind has at least done a moss stitch project or has completed a moss stitch blanket. I am one of those crochet artists. I did mine all stash buster yarn, so it's all scrap, you know, all stash buster yarn from what I had. I do love it. For me, I would say for the moss blanket, I'll say kind of make it on the bigger end. You know, if you're just doing rows and not really doing like a full, like, if you're, and then doing like a thin border. But for me, I did a little bit smaller, and then I did rounds and moss stitch around, so I had like a thick border. But even then, it's still a little small. So I would most definitely, one, use a bigger hook. I think I did like a 4.5. I should use a 5.5. And then also make your base chain longer, depending on what you're trying to do. If you're doing just a normal border or how I did it. But I really do like these blankets because the stitch is really nice, super simple. It's all single crochets and chains. And the texture on it, like after doing cover rows, it's so nice. I love the texture on it. And then the amount of colorways you can do with it is really good. This is also a really good stash buster blanket if you need one. I would 100% recommend this for anyone who is kind of new to blankets and all that. It's kind of like a single crochet blanket, but not a single crochet blanket. So it kind of, you know, it's a good blanket, I would say, for sure, to start with, instead of single crochet blankets, which I would not recommend on anybody, because a single crochet blanket, you have to chain like God knows how many, and it takes so long. Like, if you're really advanced and you can kind of get through kind of that blanket kind of a little bit faster, I would say go for it, knock yourself out. But for me, I will never do a single crochet blanket. You got me tripping. But the moss blanket is really good, and I would 100% recommend it to anyone who is just starting crocheting. So that is about 15 crochet blanket ideas for y'all. I hope y'all liked them. I hope y'all have some inspo, get your brain flowing, get your ideas flowing, getting out of that crochet funk like how I am. I'm obviously, like I said, I'm making a mandala blanket. So R.I.P. me. Pray for me, guys, that this blanket turns out good and I don't rip my hair out and I don't end up being bald by the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I haven't really done a lot of inspo, and so I'm hoping y'all guys like the inspo, and let me know what other inspo ideas y'all want me to do if y'all need help, because I will go through the dive. I will go to the war front and look for ideas for y'all, because y'all are my supporters and y'all do so much for me, so I need to help y'all. As per usual, if you guys are not new to the channel, you already know, I have a lot of social media platforms. Obviously, I am, you know, a person that likes to stay on top of things and likes to show my content. I have 3 platforms. I have Instagram, I have a TikTok, and I have a Lemonade 8. Also, you guys can follow me on here, so click that subscribe button down below. Please click it and support a small crochet person. All those will be down in the description down below per usual. Also, I do have a website, which is on screen right now at www.swagstitch.com. put it into your URL bar and it'll pop up. There are a lot of options on there, and it's very much you know, very cool, chill, streetwear kind of vibe, but also kind of cutesy in a way. But I feel like if you like my style and everything, you'll probably find something on my website. I have been working on an Etsy. Is almost, I just have to edit pictures and we're starting on it, like start more working onto it. We have been talking about it a little bit. Probably by the end of spring break, because I'm on spring break for school, I would like to get it done and out so that I can start doing stuff, and then I can also start doing business content on here and show you guys how I do my business and how, like, making orders, package them up, and do stuff like that. Because I've seen a lot of crochet creators that I follow, they do that same thing because they also own businesses because of crochet. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope y'all took some inspo from this and are using it for your own good and making some beautiful blankets on there. And I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys next time for another crochet vlog. Bye!